Good morning. Welcome to the forum, Washington State Forum, celebrating the 75th anniversary of U.S.-China diplomatic relations. Now, let's begin with the anthem of the United States and then anthem of People's Republic of China. So please stand up. Thank you.
Diplomatic relations between the United States and China. Over this year, the partnership between our two nations has contributed to the global peace and prosperity and lead to vital economic, cultural, and educational exchanges. Thank you all being part of this important occasion. May this anniversary remind us of the importance of respect, shared goals, cooperation, and friendships. Please enjoy the gathering with our friends and lunch. Once again, thank you.
So, thank you, President Tunein. I'm also part of this organization. Let me just very briefly introduce myself. My name is Thur. 我的中文名字叫孙荣芬，我姓孙。我来自中国。I've been in the U.S. for 25 years, and also I'm a newly elected Newcastle City Council member. I'm so grateful for the community support and bring representation in the community and in the city. So today I'm your MC. It's my honor to serve this role. Nextly, let's really give our Washington State welcome to Zhang Jianmin, Consul General of the People's Republic of China in
State Senators, Assembly members, dear friends, Mr. Michael Chen, Mr. Tony All, dear compatriots, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to attend this forum celebrating the 45th anniversary of our diplomatic ties. We are gathered today here not just to commemorate the past 45 years, but also to re-express our commitment to bring about a bright future. Over the past 45 years, China-US relations have overcome challenges and made significant progress, which has benefited not just the people of our two countries, but the entire world. This could not have been achieved without the joint efforts and the contribution of everybody present here. So, to start with, on behalf of the Chinese Consulate General in San Francisco, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and warm regards to friends from all walks of life who have long cared for and supported this important relationship. Today, China-US relationship stands at a new historic juncture. Last November, President Xi and President Biden had a successful historic summit in San Francisco. The two leaders set the San Francisco vision for the future of China-US relationship. At the beginning of this year, our two presidents also exchanged congratulatory messages for the 45th anniversary of our diplomatic ties, highlighting the significance, the achievements of this relationship, and both called for further growth of our relationship. The stabilization and improvement of China-US relationship has not come by easily. It is of vital importance to implement what our two presidents have agreed in their summit in order to promote a healthy, stable, and sustainable relationship. This is a task for all of us. Every one of us is a stakeholder in this important relationship. On this matter, I would like to share with you some of my perspectives. First and foremost, we should jointly develop a right perception towards each other and truly approach each other with mutual respect. China-US relationship has always been based on acknowledging our differences with mutual respect. 45 years ago, China and the United States were very different, but we managed to transcend the differences to make diplomatic recognition possible. Today, it is all the more necessary for us to make sure that our differences do not block the advancement of our relationship. President Xi Jinping has put forward 3 principles for our relationship, namely mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation. These 3 principles summarize the historic experience of China-US relationship, and they guide the direction for its future growth. China is the world's #1 developing country. The United States is the biggest developed country. As such, China and the United States cannot afford not to interact or do business with each other. Still less should the two countries engage in conflict or confrontation. Let's be partners, not adversaries. Let's help each other, not harm each other. Let's seek common ground despite the differences instead of getting into a vicious cycle of competition that would hurt each other. The key to mutual respect is respecting each other's core national interests and major concerns. The Taiwan question is the most important and sensitive issue in our relationship. China values peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait more than anyone else. But Taiwan independence is the very opposite of peace in the Taiwan Strait. We are resolutely opposed to any form of Taiwan independence and external interference. Any attempt to challenge the One China principle is doomed to failure. Second, we should focus on our mutual interests and expand cooperation in various fields. When we decided to open our door to each other, establish diplomatic ties, shared interests were one of the drivers. And I think shared interests have been the driving force of progress in our bilateral relations. Over the past 45 years, the success of each country has proven to be an opportunity for the other. Our subnational cooperation, like what we have between Washington State and China, really showcases the outcome of what kind of mutual benefits we can get from this relationship. For example, Washington State has signed numerous MOUs of economic, educational, and cultural exchange with China. And Washington State has established a sister city relationship with Sichuan province. It has a history of 42 years already. And companies like Microsoft and Boeing have both thrived in China market. And companies like Apple, Starbucks, and Costco have been really expanding their business in China. There can be many other examples. China is committed to high quality development, and the United States is also working to make its economy more robust. This presents huge opportunities for us to engage in win-win cooperation. Right now, China is holding a very important conference, the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee. It is expected that it would announce a series of significant measures to further deepen China's reform and opening up in all aspects. China will further open up. China will continue to build a market-oriented, law-based, and world-class business environment. And China is committed to make further progress in Chinese modernization. And I'm sure this will present opportunities for the United States and all other countries in the world. Third, we should strengthen people-to-people exchanges and build bridges of mutual understanding. The history of Chinese-US relations features many stories of, many touching stories of friendly exchanges between our peoples. It is the people who created the past, and it is the people who will usher in our future, our shared future. Since the San Francisco summit between the two presidents, people-to-people interactions have gathered new momentum. We are now actively implementing the initiative announced by President Xi, that is to invite 50,000 American students to visit China in the next 5 years. We are so happy that students from Lincoln High School and SeattleChineseRadio High School were among the first to visit China. The kids visited Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Wuhan. They experienced Chinese culture, and they made friends with their Chinese counterparts, Chinese peers. They found the trip to be very rewarding, eye-opening, especially in seeing a China that is very different from what they heard, from what they had heard. So we really hope that more and more young Americans will travel to China to see China with your own eyes. Here, I wish to give special thanks to all friends from Washington State for your strong support, especially to the Chinese community. I know the Chinese community have staged many interesting cultural events, and these events have not just enriched community life, but also showcased the unity of the Chinese community and promoted dialogue and respect and understanding among different cultures. Fourth, we should shoulder responsibilities as major countries and work together for the benefit of all mankind. The world today is in trouble. That's the comment by Secretary General of the UN. He said it's in deep trouble. The world is now witnessing unprecedented changes, with complex situations and multiple crises all happening at the same time. So what kind of world we need? And how to build a desirable world? This is a major question that will have a bearing on the future of mankind. Global peace, stability, and development would require more dialogue and cooperation, especially between China and the United States. Both countries, therefore, should live up to the expectation of the world and demonstrate broad vision, fulfill their respective and shared responsibility, and strengthen coordination on international and regional issues. Together, China and the United States can do more for the benefit of the whole world. Together, the two countries can offer more public goods and bring greater stability and certainty to this troubled world. Ladies and gentlemen, achieving healthy, stable, and sustainable growth of our relations requires joint efforts. When President Xi, as head of state, made his first state visit to the United States in 2015, Seattle was the first stop, highlighting Washington State's significant role in China-U.S. relations. And Ambassador Rock was personally there welcoming the Chinese president at that time. I hope all friends in Washington State, especially the Chinese community, will continue to support China-U.S. relations, facilitate mutually beneficial cooperation, and promote more people-to-people friendship. As far as my office is concerned, we are committed to working with all of you to deepen cooperation, to improve the relationship, and to deliver more tangible benefits to our two peoples. To conclude, may the friendship between China and the United States be constantly enhanced. And I wish all of you all the best. Thank you all.
Thank you, Consul General Zhang Jianmin, who gave such a heartfelt speech. Let's give him a big round of applause. 非常感谢。接下来next, let's welcome our former ambassador to China and former Secretary of Commerce and our former Washington State Governor, Gary Locke.
Well, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure and an honor to be here and to welcome Consul General John from San Francisco. I have to tell you that I don't have prepared remarks because when Tony Au invited me, he just said, come and participate. He did not say I had to say anything. But I know that we have many other speakers, so I'll try to keep my remarks brief. I don't think anyone could have imagined how integrated our two countries economically and socially and politically would be when President Nixon first went to China some 50 years ago, and certainly in the 45 years of diplomatic relations between the two countries initiated by President Carter. When President Nixon first went to China, our two-way trade was only a couple $1 million per year. And now that two-way trade is several $1 billion every single day. Our two countries have benefited from that deepening integration. The quality of life and the standard of living among the Chinese people has risen dramatically. It's the most transformational, or the most dramatic socioeconomic transformation the world has ever seen. In such a very short period of time, the quality of life and the standard of living of the Chinese people have risen dramatically. And so many good paying jobs, the rise of the middle class, has really been the result of the world opening up to China, allowing China to trade with other countries, including the United States, such that so many of the products that we come to depend on and use every day in our lives, whether it's clothes, tools, barbecue sets, microwave ovens, appliances, are made in China. So millions and millions of jobs in China have benefited from exports from China to the United States. And those high quality, low cost goods means more money available in the pockets of Americans that they can spend on recreation, healthcare, tuition, college education of their children, and retirement. At the same time, China has opened up its markets to US companies, and we in the state of Washington have greatly benefited from that. And so millions of jobs in America have also come about due to exports from America to China, including here from the state of Washington. Our Boeing airplanes, our agricultural products going through the ports of Seattle and others, to Microsoft technology and even architectural and engineering services. There's a huge hunger and a demand for products made in America or services provided by American companies because they stand for quality, they stand for purity, they stand for meeting the needs of the Chinese people. And so there are greater opportunities for collaboration between our two countries. At the same time, there's a lot of competition between the companies and businesses of our two countries. And it's absolutely imperative that China and these companies follow international rules and obligations. There's great concern in America that many of these Chinese companies are receiving unfair subsidies and support from the Chinese government. And this is not just the view of the United States, but many other Western countries, from Europe to other parts of Asia, which is why there's a growing trade tension with many other countries thinking of tariffs on Chinese products coming into their countries, not just the United States, but around the world, because of the subsidies and the economic policies of China. So if we are to really reduce the tensions between our two countries, the two governments must really focus on these issues, and China must also engage with the governments of other countries around the world. Because if we have tariffs, it raises the cost of Chinese goods coming into the United States, and that increases the cost and the burdens on American households. If China imposes tariffs on American goods, that reduces the job opportunities of American companies, but also raises the cost for the Chinese people when they buy products from not just America, but Canada, Europe, and elsewhere. So we have to avoid these trade wars. But in order to avoid these trade wars, we need to have true dialogue and progress shown by the governments of each country. The United States does not want conflict with China. We do not want conflict with China. But it's important that we have frank discussion about our differences, and those differences are profound. Whether it's navigation in the South China Sea to Taiwan. America believes in a one-China policy, but we also believe that the future of Taiwan must be settled peacefully among the people of Taiwan and the people of China itself, and not by force and not by military intervention. We have benefited, the world has benefited by China opening up and by the world opening up to China. And our economies, our two countries, are the most, the relationship between the United States and China is the most important relationship in the world today, because the world is expecting partnership and progress between the United States and China. So many of the problems of today cannot be solved by the United States alone or by China alone. They're expecting partnership, whether it's halting the proliferation of nuclear weapons in North Korea, to stopping global terrorism, finding cures for the most dreaded diseases around the world, or climate change. Let's take climate change, for example. Americans produce more greenhouse gases per person than any other country in the world. China produces more greenhouse gases, period, than any other country in the world. But that's because they have almost 4 times the population of America. If China were to make substantial reductions in greenhouse gases and America does little, China's efforts will be for naught. If America makes huge reductions in greenhouse gases and China does not, then our sacrifices here in America will be for naught. China has a glorious history. of thousands of years of innovation and inventions, from the compass to the clock to the printing press. America stands for innovation and democracy and freedom and entrepreneurship. But 50 years from now, if we are not able to collaborate together and make substantial progress in curbing greenhouse emissions, the world will not care at all about China's contributions nor America's contributions. The world will blame both of our countries for taking us over the precipice of irreversible climate change. Therefore, it's imperative that our two countries work together. We have major political and policy differences. We need to acknowledge those, and at the same time work together in areas of common concern and common issue. And so I hope that we can learn from each other in this conference today, get to know each other better. And in fact, former Prime Minister Tony Blair of Great Britain said, the key to diplomacy first starts with people-to-people exchange. More Americans need to visit China to understand the complexity and the challenges facing the Chinese government and the Chinese people. And of course, more Chinese need to come to America to understand our system, our openness, our freedoms, our liberties, our transparency. We in America recognize that we're not a perfect country, but at least we acknowledge our shortcomings and our mistakes, and we try to learn from them. And the key to, I think, our strength in America is our diversity of people. People from all parts of the world, from Asia, from China, from Europe, from Latin America, from Africa. It's that diversity of thought, of culture, that brings energy and new ideas and momentum in America. And I think that has been the key to our innovation, our entrepreneurship, and our success. We embrace diversity. We embrace diversity. And that is what makes America great. I think other countries, including China, could learn from how we approach diversity and embrace diversity. So anyway, the future is challenging. Today is challenging. But the future can also be very bright if we are able to focus on people-to-people relations and tackle the issues separating our country and work in partnership. Thank you very much.
American community here in the Pacific Northwest that are incredibly vital to our community, active in business and politics, in education, in every aspect of our community, and helping it to be a stronger and better place. I look forward to continuing that relationship and working with the Chinese American community as we look at issues that we face here in the region. But look, the most important thing is the relationship between the U.S. and China. And I'm not naive. I am aware of the challenges. But the one thing I know for sure, the future of the world will be a better place. China and the U.S. can figure out how to get along. And we are the greatest powers in the world. And I'll let you know something else. China's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So we better figure out how to work together on the challenges that we face. And the opportunities are abundant. We look at the climate change problem. Well, we have two highly educated populations in China. We need to work together. Global disease is a challenge. Global poverty is a challenge. We have wars in a variety of different parts of the world. The two largest economic powers in the world can certainly work together to help make all of those problems less bad. We could do that, and we shouldn't. Again, that's not set out of ignorance. I know what the challenges are. I know the differences in the dynamic. I certainly don't want to do what the Chinese government is doing, but we have to find a way. And the biggest thing that we advocate for is more negotiation, more diplomacy, more interaction,
Next, let's welcome Jiho Oak Team Senior Advisor Michael Chen. Give some words. 谢谢。
尊敬嘅各位嘉賓，今日係中美建交45週年嘅紀念日，在呢段歷史嘅進程中，我哋兩國都創造咗歷史上嘅輝煌，中美和平友好。係我哋嘅共同嘅願望，希望我哋兩國能夠在各嘅領域加強合作，共同發展。經過通過經貿文化嘅交流、教育嘅合作，同埋民間嘅交往同埋旅遊。使到我哋兩國人民真正友誼，讓我哋迎接中美新嘅歷程嘅到嚟，和平共處，互通有無，合作共贏。最後，祝中美友誼長青，祝在座各位身體健康。多謝。
謝謝陳元老 ，Thank you, Michael Chen. Just briefly, so he mentioned, so peace and friendship between China and the United States is our common aspiration. It is hoped that the two countries can strengthen cooperation and in various fields and develop together through economics, trade, and cultural exchanges. Educational cooperation, tourism, and people-to-people exchanges. The two countries can deepen understanding and enhance friendship. Let us jointly welcome the arrival of a new milestone between China and the U.S. Thank you. So, let's welcome, give our welcome to Bellevue City Mayor Lin Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you, Sun. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking, why not Gary Locke for president? I'll back you. My name is Lynn Robinson. I'm the mayor of Bellevue, and it's really an honor to be here today. Bellevue has a population of almost 155,000 individuals with over 100 languages spoken, and we are one of the most diverse cities of its size in the United States. Our council vision statement begins with Bellevue welcomes the world, our diversity is our strength. And we're very proud to celebrate these 45 years of diplomatic relations between the United States and China. Bellevue was built with the help of Chinese American labor in the middle of the 19th century. And today we boast the largest Chinese American population in Washington state. This value culture is evident in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our arts, in our celebrations, and especially in our many Chinese-owned businesses, both large and small. And as we celebrate today, I want us to reaffirm our commitment to strengthening the bonds between our countries and the communities within them by working together towards a peaceful, stable, and prosperous world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn. By the way, I work in the Bellevue district. So thank you for our mayor to join us. Thank you. 谢谢. Nextly, let's welcome our special guest, the executive director of MG2, Jerry Lee. Also, he's a pioneer in our community, in our China community and beyond. Thank you.
Hi, how are you today? Thank you for inviting us. my mother and father are both from Fri Sun, and they were immigrated here, and yeah, they worked hard, and we one of the first to graduate and go to college, and I'm an architect now, so we have a firm in Shanghai. We've been there for over 25 years, and there's a photograph of our very first high-rise that we designed in China. But recent years, there's a company called Costco Wholesale that we designed in China. And they weren't quite sure how successful it would be, but from day one, it was just lines all over the place. And one of Jim Senecal's philosophy when he was considering going to China was they were saying that it's never going to work, the return policy, because Costco pretty much returns anything that you take. So if you bring something back, you don't like it, they return it. They said, it's not going to work in China. You know, but it turns out they're honest people, just like they are in the United States. You know, you're going to get a few odd ones every once in a while, but in general, they're very, very fair. And consequently, we now have 7 Costco wholesales in China, and they have, fortunately for me, we do a lot of Costco work, so we know where they're going in the years ahead, and they're very aggressive in China. They're investing billions of dollars because they have a good relationship, and they have a good relationship with the people, and their products sell very well. And I think they trust their brands, and it's been trusting on both sides. Those Costco units, from day one, the Shanghai was the highest in revenue, the highest dollar value, the most profitable is in China. The average increases in China are probably going about 25–30%. So whatever volume is, the next year it's even more. In the United States, it's probably at 8–10% growth. So obviously, a lot of the growth they are putting into China because they feel that it's a good market for them. But again, it goes back to trust. The Kirkland signature brand, their vitamins, the Chinese people really believe that it's a good product that they can trust on. So it's done quite well. But it's not just Costco. I wanted to mention this bottle of vodka here. It's made in, from a distillery in Washington. But it's a real high-end distillery, and he really believes in the product. So he traveled all over the world looking for the best glass for his bottle. In Italy, US, in the end, even though it cost more, he went to China because he felt that that glass of crystal here was the best. So we have a bottle for him. But that's an example of, on her side of the story, that China has good products that we can use too. So QFC opened up with their 10,000th unit in China. So there's many U.S. Businesses doing business in China. Hopefully, more and more in the years ahead. Through Gary, I got a chance to meet Wu Jintao and President Xi, and they were great times. Starbucks, Gary had them use Starbucks coffee cups for a toast versus wine and whiskey. So it was a great photo of the two when they did that. We're the architects of this building here, Anthony Square 66. We did this about 25 years ago, but it still feels fresh. And hopefully we'll continue to do more work in China also. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry Lee. I think, Jerry Lee, you should start your special wine bottle business. I'm sure there will be a lot of customers. Next, let's welcome our Washington State Senator, Bob Hasagawa. Bob has been long-time friends of us, and you have traveled to China several times. Let's enjoy this side. Thank you. 谢谢.
Thank you, Sun. Little known fact, Sun is supposed to have been my Mandarin teacher. She volunteered. We just couldn't find the time, so I ended up resorting to Duolingo. Anyway, I actually did Duolingo until they started charging. So, Consul General Zhang, thank you for coming all the way up to Seattle and representing the People's Republic and for your very heartfelt words. I really appreciate hearing that. Ambassador Locke, thank you also for sharing the national perspective as only you can convey to us, having been there and done that. So thank you for that wisdom. Those words come from the national perspective. So what I would like to briefly talk about is maybe from the state's perspective and from people to people, because as Sun mentioned, I've been to China a couple of times, been to Taiwan a couple of times, been to Japan, talked with people from Korea. The one thing that I gathered from talking to each one of those is that they all just want to get along. They want to maintain the status quo. You know, don't start playing global world domination risk type games, you know, where we are seeing, Consul General mentioned, or maybe it was Ambassador Rock, that the UN Secretary General said we're in trouble. That might be an understatement, because the way how I see it happening is we're moving further and further apart. People are becoming more and more polarized, and it's not just a US phenomenon, it's a global phenomenon. But there are forces pushing us apart. It doesn't just happen naturally, because naturally people want to come together. So what's forcing us apart? You know, and in China, I've seen tremendous progress over the last 45 years, or I guess if you compare it over the last several thousand years that China has been around, it's been amazing progress. But they've had the largest growth of middle class in the history of the world. The US is facing just the opposite. It's the largest shrinkage of the middle class from what was our peak. Not just actually probably 50 years ago. So when people start losing their wealth or their incomes, you start getting scared. And that's what's happening in much of the world, and especially in the United States. Income inequality is separating the haves and the 1% who own the vast majority of the wealth from the rest of the people. And the rest of the people are running scared. I think Consul General Zhang's words about the basis of rebuilding relationships is education and cultural exchanges. Trade will then follow. But we have to make sure that we resist these forces that are trying to divide us against each other, and make sure that we as people are connecting. And I was talking with Professor Hellman, who pointed out that there have been over 70,000 Chinese students studying in American universities, and in the reverse, there's only 156. There's a tremendous imbalance, but what comes with that imbalance is a lack of understanding. So we, as academicians and as students who are going to be shaping the world, don't understand China. That is a huge problem. So China, by offering to help remediate that somewhat by sponsoring 50,000 students to pay the tuition to study in China, that is huge. I think we need to take every advantage of building these relationships between our two countries. And we here in Washington State are especially privileged and well positioned to be able to facilitate that. So I'm hoping that with this celebration of 45 years so far, in the future, I'm basically an optimist. I try to look to see the best sides of people and to hope that rational, thoughtful decisions are being made. Not at the behest of ulterior motives like wealth creation and accumulation, but on humanity, humanistic virtues and values. That we start treating each other with respect. Talking with my Korean friends in this North-South conflict that was happening when it was, before it actually really was exacerbated. My Korean friends would say, the U.S. just needs to leave them alone and figure it out, not to try and instigate. Same thing in talking with the Taiwanese people and the Chinese people. I'm not talking about the governments, I'm talking about talking directly with the people. The U.S. just needs to get out of the way and quit pushing and quit dividing. And the same with Japan. I see, the Japanese are becoming increasingly militaristic, and there was actually even a call, they have a peace clause within their constitution. There was a call to repeal that peace clause out of the Japanese constitution. Those things don't just happen because they happen. They're being pushed. And it's our job as the people to push back and say, we want good relationships. We just want to live together in a world where we don't have to rise, as Ambassador Watt pointed out. We cannot unilaterally solve the climate crisis. Neither can China. And there's a third player now. India is just surpassed China as the most populous nation in the world. So, they have a developing economy. We have a job ahead of us, but we in Washington State are best positioned because of the diversity that Ambassador Watt talks about. We here in the United States, and especially in Washington State, have worked very hard to make sure that we leave the divisive values that may have happened. I'm not placing judgment on what has happened in the past back from all the countries that we come from. But here now, we are in America, and we have to get along for the future of the world. And that's not an understatement, that's not hyperbole. We are at a tipping point right now, and it's on all of us to understand that, to see that, and to fight back, to make sure that we've got these good relationships. So I'll close, I've talked too long already, but I just wanted to say my last pitch will be, as I do with the Consul General when he always comes, please establish a consulate in Seattle. We are the best positioned to be that bridge with China. So I hope you hear that, but thank you, and I'm sorry to take so much.
Thank you, Senator Bob Hazagawa. Give us your first eye, because you've been to China, you have met so many Chinese people, you are our longtime friends, so your heartfelt sharing really, really touched my heart. Thank you. Nextly, let's welcome our State Senator, Javier Valdez, give some remarks.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you for the honor of being invited. It's great to see so many friends here. Good to see you. Otherwise, you're here. Good to see you, buddy. My name is Javier Valdez. I'm a state senator from the 46th Legislative District. For those of you not in Seattle, that is, I represent Northeast Seattle, so think just north of the University of Washington, in the Green Lake area. I guess there's two things I just want to briefly talk about. The first is, echoing words from Ambassador Locke and Senator Hasagawa. I think we're really fortunate here in Washington State that we are a welcoming state. We work with everyone. We value and cherish our relationships with everyone throughout the world, and we embrace backgrounds, we embrace where you're from. We want to ensure that all of our families, all of our kids here in the state have exposure to that, and so everyone knows, Again, this is who we are. We're going to welcome everyone. And again, we're just we're one big family, and we're going to treat everyone fairly as well. If there's one issue I do want to talk about real quickly, I know we've had some comments about our relationship with China and business on a more corporate and national level, but I want to just briefly talk about our small businesses here in Washington State, in particular our minority and women-owned businesses, and of course how does that affect the Chinese American-owned companies right here in the state, those small businesses, those mom-and-pop retail businesses that are just looking to get a contract either with our state or our local governments, whether you're a good or supplier or you're a consultant or an architect. And I wanted to share with you some of the work that Senator Hasegawa and I have been working on for the last quite a while. Prior to 1998, our state used to have, I think, a really strong program of working with all of our minority businesses. And of course, that included many hundreds of Chinese American-owned small businesses. But we had a law passed in 1998, which I know then Governor Locke was really vocal in trying to prevent. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. And it ended up passing, which actually ended our affirmative action program in our state, which had a devastating impact on how our state buys goods and services as a government, working with these small businesses in particular. 25 years later, we're still fighting that battle. Did you know that here in our Washington state government, as a buying government, as we buy among the state of Washington, that when it comes to goods and services, that 2 years ago, less than 1% of goods and services that we procured, that we bought as a Washington state government, was with women and minority businesses, which of course also meant our Chinese-owned American businesses right here in Washington state, our small businesses. And that's simply not right. And I know then Governor Locke, you were so vocal in trying to prevent that law from passing. And we have now seen, 25 years later, that the impact of that. But working with Senator Hasegawa and the legislature, we're working hard and trying to reversing some of that. We made some progress in transportation. We're slowly making progress in our state government to reflect, I think, a more just opportunity for all of our businesses, but in particular our minority businesses, and then that time really affects here all of our ethnic businesses throughout our state. So, and with your support, we'll continue to hopefully get there. I want to thank you again for the honor of being here today. Enjoy the luncheon, enjoy the conference, and I know we've got some more speakers to hear, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Next, let's welcome King County Executive Representative James Bush. Please give your address. You have been in our Chinese community for years. We really appreciate your support on behalf of the King County Executive. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see everyone out today, and especially Consul General Zhang and Ambassador Locke, or as we call him in King County, Executive Locke. That's another former they didn't get to in his introduction. It's a great pleasure to represent Executive Dow Constantine and the people of King County in a celebration of 45 years of diplomatic relations between the United States and the People's Republic of China. This relationship has been of great benefit to both countries. Now, Commissioner Fellman is going to give you the actual facts, but our trade relationship has been so beneficial for both countries. But some of my favorite Chinese imports are in the room right now. Our large, vibrant, and very active overseas Chinese community has been such a blessing to King County. We've gained so much from the friendship and from the culture that our Chinese population has brought us. And I'd like to thank Tony Yao and the Washington State Sino-U.S. Trade Alliance for putting today's program together. And I'd just like to look forward to many more years of tourism, investment, and trade with our Pacific Rim partners, the People's Republic of China. Thank you.
Next, let's welcome Port of Seattle, Commissioner. So now we see we are surrounded by such a beautiful place. Actually, this building is part of Port of Seattle, right? And thank you so much. So, Thomas, please give the address. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, it's really an honor to be able to speak to you all here and recognize this 45th anniversary and to welcome you to the Port of Seattle. This is our building, so is the World Trade Center, and headquarters is down at Pier 69. All those container cranes over there are jointly managed with the Port of Tacoma and what is known as the Northwest Seaport Alliance. And trade is obviously a huge part of our relationship. And thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for joining us here today. I wanted to just get distracted here by one because I see this terminal right here at 66. This is a cruise ship terminal. And one of the things about trade that's very important for us is that the environment is the key to our success. And this is going to be a shore power facility, so the ships will be able to plug in while they're moored here, so we have the benefit of the trade in people. And I do appreciate the King County representative talking about our trade in humans. Well, the actual thing is that we think about tourism as a great import, and so I appreciate that sentiment. So we also in Washington State have a very special relationship with China in that our late Senator Magnuson, actually 5 years before this anniversary, made a visit to China. And of course, I had one trip to China, so that's also very important. I have to share with you my second year as a port commissioner. I've been 3 terms now. The president and vice president couldn't make it, so they sent the new guy. And so I got to cut the ribbon on the Xiamen Airlines first flights directly to here and at Shenzhen, and was very welcomed, and I very much appreciated that opportunity. But just for a little bit of context, so Franklin Roosevelt, Secretary of State, who we all know very well, I'm sure, Cordell Hull famously said, following World War II, that where trade crosses borders, alliance do not. And I think this is a critical aspect of our working relationship to keep that mutual relationship going, to spare us anything that would not be positive for us. And but one of the great challenges for global commerce is logistics. And some of you are probably much more familiar with Mr. Sun Tzu once said that the link between disorder and order is logistics. And so some 2,500 years later, the same is true of global trade. And so the world is definitely challenged with this situation. So let me just give you a couple of statistics. Port of Seattle and one of those seaport lines. We look at the 20 top trading partners we have are all from the Pacific Rim. China's been the top trading partner for, before the pandemic, during the pandemic, after the pandemic. And so just to give you an idea that in 2023, we moved 3 million containers, both at Seattle and Tacoma. About 2.2 million of them were actually international trade, because we also did the domestic trade. And of that, China moved like 650,000, which is worth some $20 billion. It's about 39% of volume by total and 29% by value. So China relations is huge with Washington State. And I guess I just want to close by saying that as our trading partner, it's critical that we continue to grow this relationship into the future, and really it's a great challenge and a great pleasure to be able to join you here today, and thank you for the invitation.
Next, let's welcome Seattle City Councilwoman Wu give some remarks. So good luck.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Tanya Wu Qingna. I am your Seattle City Councilwoman. I represent citywide. So my family, my great-great-great-grandfather immigrated here from China in 1887. Chinese have been in Seattle for a very long time, and we helped build this city. I'm really proud to say that I am it has been 20 years since we had a Chinese American on the Seattle City Council. The last person we had was Cheryl Chow in 2000. And so I grew up here in Seattle. I'm first generation. I studied at University of Washington, and I also studied at University of Beijing. So being Chinese American really is the lens I see through when I go through my day-to-day life. A little more than a month ago, Councilmember Dan Strauss and myself led a 20-person delegation to our sister city of Chongqing in China. We celebrated our 40th anniversary there, and it was amazing. We attended climate summits, we went to trade fairs. I also went to Shenzhen to confirm our memorandum of understanding and got to visit Biosphere 3, and it was quite amazing to be able to share ideas and technology and see what carbon neutrality really looks like, and also what 45% tree canopy looks like. I'm the chair of the Sustainability, Arts and Culture, and City Light Committee, and so these things are really important to me. But I look forward with our continued partnership with our sister cities and with China in sharing ideas, technology, and trade going forward. And so thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Next, let's welcome Bellevue City Council Member Jimmy Meda.
Bienvenidos, welcome to watch the stage for the investors and business people that are here today to look at what we have to offer. Well, I gotta tell you, we have to offer some sunshine a little bit coming out right now. We also have to offer a stable system when we do business in Washington State. You know, I'm a businessman, an elected official, but more importantly, I'm a businessman that ended up starting my construction business. And the name of my company is Andriod Construction. And why I speak about that today is because how the global system is changing. AI, engineering, architectural work, smart buildings, technology is just on fire. And so just here recently, we started working in India and figuring out how we can have our engineering that we need to have done in the United States to where we can get these things done faster, we can get our quantities, we understand what we're charging for. And the reality is we're in trouble here in America because of our engineers and project managers. But more importantly, engineers, because to become a project engineer, you can probably end up going to Microsoft or Google. And so let's just say that the construction market is stripping people that should be working at the city hall to make sure that our projects are going faster, and so we can start making money on our investments sooner than later. So we'll continue to see that across the country, and I think across the world. You know, when I look at where the world is going as an economy, you look at India, in 10 years, India will have more tower cranes building buildings in the United States of America because they're a growing economy. China is not left behind. You know, in fact, just hearing the architect from saying I'm building buildings in China, and I was the architect of this building we sit in today. Well, what makes a person think that if you own a construction company, you couldn't be like DPR or Skanska? They're a worldwide company. And so when we started looking at this as, you know, my son who got his master's degree in business administration and my daughter that's in the tech economy, we started looking at it that we in America sometimes, as Americans, we think small. In other countries, you go and you learn 2-3 languages. You really depend on your education. And so we have some work to do in America. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by showing that the bar gets raised higher and higher. When we talk about artificial intelligence, I had the chance to be in Beijing, China. Some of those robots were incredible. When you look at other developing countries and you look at their infrastructure of technology, it's like, wow. And so for our children in America, I think we've got to make sure that we don't have them just spend their time on TikTok, wasting their time, but that they have their ability to be able to code, to be able to talk, because I don't think that we realize that this technology, it's not the English language. It's what do you know in technology and as a small business to be able to scale up. For those individuals that are here, they're looking for investments, this is the right time. And there was just an article here recently in the Daily Journal of Commerce that said, Seattle cannot go any further down. We're going up. And so as we continue to celebrate, business is thriving after COVID, but we also know that we have some great things coming down the road. The World Cup will be played here in Seattle. And so for those individuals, I know that there's some investors in food and beverages at the last meeting I was at. And I got to tell you, this is a golden opportunity to figure out where we can do business together. As far as where we find ourselves internationally, yes, it's a sad state. And I think as we have aging populations in America and in China, I think that we as a society owe it to our young people to talk about what it looked like 60, 70, or 80 years ago. If we look back at history and look at how far we've come as America, as Mexico, as Central America, as India, as China, and we look that things have continued to get better for those individuals that come from poverty. And I got to tell you, as an American, I know we're, first of all, my parents came here to this country from Guatemala as immigrants. I got to tell you, my father used to tell me, hey, Nico, I brought you to America because how would you feel selling gum to support your family? How would you feel that you would not be able to go out and express your opinions and your views? How would you feel that your dad and your mom were having to be basically servitudes to the coffee industry and the banana industry? Well, I got to say that I cannot tell you how that feels because I was born in America. This is the country I love. And when people talk about what America is, I think my daughter said it the best. America's in a midlife crisis, because the very thing that makes us strong is the very thing that makes us weak. And it's our differences. The ability to be able to eat tacos or, the duck that I love or chow mein. And so, and I gotta tell you that there's one thing that gave me hope while I spoke to someone who I felt pretty discouraged about the political system in our country and across the world. He goes, Jimmy, as long as we continue to protect freedom and our democracy, we're gonna be okay. Because things will correct, because our freedom is what's made us be able to pave the way for the world. And so for those individuals that are here that want to be able to create business, I think this, the executive board that you have here, Tony, President, thank you very much, your executive board. You got the right people here to connect you. We'll be able to connect you with business people here that have the same mindset of making money, but also being able to reinvest it through our taxes and through our ability to be able to build facilities and markets that will support the world as a global economy. So thank you very much, welcome and enjoy, and we hope you get some more sunshine out here.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Councilmember Jimmy. Next, we like to hear some remarks from our young generation. And first, let's welcome Adam Ring from Chinese American family. And Adam Sun and Andriod.
Hi, I'm Adam Ring. My mother was born in China. My father and I were born here in America. We're hoping for a long-lasting friendship between China and America. May we continue to understand and respect each other, fostering peace, cooperation, and happiness. Let us build a future where we can learn from each other, celebrate our diverse cultures, and work together in harmony.
Before we start, I want to make an announcement about parking tickets. I know you guys are very interested. Each one of them is for 1 hour, so please make sure you come grab one or a few so we can validate your parking. Hello everyone, my name is Alex Sun. I'm a current grad student going to University of Rochester for Business and Analytics. I'm honored to be here to share my view of how my generation can contribute to building upon relations between the US and China. Firstly, language opens many doors, exchanges, and cooperations between our cultures. I believe learning each other's languages can help us build these relations and understand each other's cultures. It lets us participate in many international exchange programs where we live and learn in the same environment, helping us enhance the understanding of each other's cultures. Secondly, I believe that the younger generation's enthusiasm can be a catalyst
for business activities between the countries. I believe that numerous entrepreneurship opportunities can help the younger generation bring innovative ideas from one country to another, fostering economic collaborations as well as helping us, my generation, grow as open-minded professionals ourselves. Thank you.
Dear guests, good afternoon. 8-year-old Andrew Ling invites you to give a warm applause to celebrate the 45th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and the United States. I especially want to thank the United States for giving us so much room to grow and so many possibilities. 也特别感谢住在美国的中国人民，你们为美国的发展做出了很重要的贡献。愿中美两国的友谊天长地久。谢谢大家。
What an inspiring young generation and their heartfelt speech. They wish the friendship between China and the United States like eternity, forever. So that's I think it's our shared wish and our mission. That's why we're together here today. And I want to echo what Ambassador Locke and what Consul General Zhang Jianmin addressed. I am an educator. I'm a first generation of immigrant. I'm from China, Tianjin, China. I'm very proud to also be a public servant, to be the first Chinese American newly elected as Newcastle City Council member. This actually is really, really important. Yeah. First in Newcastle history. And also, talking about the young people sending them to China, only through people to people. We have really, really close relationship and communication. And I like Obama used to have 100,000 student initiative to China. I was the lead teacher, and we went to Chongqing and Beijing. And then my last trip was 2019. So now we're in after pandemic. I can't wait to lead more students to China. So thank you, and also thank you everyone today for this really, really wonderful gathering. Thank you for coming. So next, let's have Dr. Ming Xiao introduce our officials today.
It's my great honor to introduce our distinguished officials who join us today. Zhang Jianmin, Consul General of the People's Republic of China in San Francisco. Wang Yiming, Director. Wen Qing, Consul. Meng Qingming, Deputy Consul. Zhang Jicheng, Deputy Consul. Gary Locke, former U.S. Ambassador to China, former Secretary of Commerce, former Washington State Governor. And then later we have a U.S. Congressman Adam Smith, he'll be late today. U.S. Senator, State Senator Bob Hasagawa. Washington State Senator Javier Verdes. King County Executive Representative James Bush. And Bellevue Mayor Lynn Robinson. And we have also Seattle Deputy Mayor Greg Wong. He was here earlier. Building Councilman former Mayor Jimmy Matter. Port of Seattle Commissioner Fred Bellman. City of Seattle
Seattle Councilwoman Wu. City of Newcastle Councilwoman Sun Berger. CEO Renton Chamber of Commerce Diane Dobson. Chairman of Board Renton Chamber of Commerce Danelle Smith. Chief Economic Development Officer City of Bellevue Jesse Canedo. Bellevue City Councilman Jared Neuenheim. UW Jackson School former Director Professor Dr. Don Hellman. Executive Director of MG2 Foundation, Jerry Lee. Seattle Police Department Commander, Steve Strang. International Specialist, Washington State Department of Commerce, Tommy Lo Dees. Senior International Trade Specialist, former Foreign Service Officer, Thomas Nadis. Director of Opportunities at Seattle Magazine, Nina Lori. Washington State Sino-US Trade Alliance, our President, Tony Au.
Next, we welcome the founding president of Washington Guangfu Association, Jimmy Liang, Liang Guoyao 先生, introduce the local organizations representatives. 我们西雅图大西雅图地区的侨社社团的代表，谢谢。
我现在介绍我们本地的华人社团排名不分先后。西雅图制造入侵公所、树人堂、华盛顿州广府人联谊会、华盛顿州广州同商联谊会、西雅图瑞信工商会、华州大中华香港商会、西雅图华商女子联谊会、中美爱家协会、菲奥拿超模学院、华盛顿州北京同商会、西雅图上海联谊会、华盛顿州湖南总商会、湖南同商会、北美结章华侨联盟社团、华盛顿州四川总会、华盛顿州肇庆同商会、西雅图广海同商会、王氏工商会、武士公所、超人公所、李氏公所、西雅图张门五一青年会、奇人会、西雅图华盛顿州西雅图荷兰同商会、巴比利律师事务所、西雅图中文电台、华盛顿州中文电视台潮报、Seattle Magazine、美国华盛顿州美中贸易促进会，谢谢大家。
接下来as you waiting for Congressman, so let's go to the next program. Video from our Lieutenant Governor of Washington State, Danny.
Hello, this is Lieutenant Governor Danny. I regret not being able to join you today and meet you all in person, but I'm pleased to commemorate with you the 45th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the U.S. and China. Washington State has a long history of economic and cultural connections with China. It is particularly important to acknowledge the strength of our trade relationship, as China has long been a top trading partner with our state. Washington is also privileged to be home to diverse heritages that contribute to our shared vitality, including and especially so the Chinese American community. Former Governor Ambassador Gary Long, former Deputy Mayor Conrad Lee, and the late Wendy Liu, to name just a few, help represent the rich Chinese American heritage of our state. My conscience, however, requires me to begin. That's what friends do. We all recognize that the bilateral relationship between the U.S. and China has, well, seen better days. My hope is that through continued engagement and effort, we can keep forging ahead with a mutually beneficial relationship. After all, it is in both our best interest to do so. So thank you, have a wonderful lunch, and again, I'm sorry I can't be with you.
Hello, I'm Cavalier Bruce Harold, and I'm honored to welcome you to the 45th anniversary ceremony celebrating the enduring relationship between the United States and China. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you in person, but I hope this video still expresses my excitement for everything that's occurred. The significant milestones, 4.5 decades of friendship, collaboration, mutual growth between our two nations. Our cities have benefited from this partnership with cultural exchanges, enriching our communities, and business collaborations, driving innovation. I'm very fortunate to have many friends in the community, and I share their excitement. So on behalf of the City of Seattle, I say my heartfelt congratulations to all those who contributed to the strengthening this bond for the past 45 years. We look forward to many more years of fruitful collaboration and friendship as we continue to build bridges and strengthen our ties between our two great communities. Thank you very much.
U.S. Congressman Adam Smith's arrival, we felt just in the language and some conversations. And